Hello, welcome back to this episode of Tuesday. So last week and the week before, I had demonstrated how to create a Kubernetes pod manifest using the kubectl or kubectl, or as I call it, kubectl command. And there's some evidence of that. We could compare that to a little YAML file generated also with kubectl create deployment instead of kubectl run, and specified again just an nginx container image to be used in a container, in a pod, one replica pod within a deployment. So created that manifest. Now I would like to show you using a different tool, using Helm. And we could say Helm create and then give a name like myapp. And what we would get is we would get a whole subdirectory, folder here in my file system, which has not only one Kubernetes manifest for a deployment right here, but also a YAML manifest for a service account, a service so we can network in. So we have an identity, we have networking. We also optionally can have some other layer 7 networking and ingress here, and a horizontal pod autoscaler. These both are optional, and by that I mean they by default will actually not be created. The resources based on those manifests will not be created. The manifests are there, but they have these little if statements at the top of them, so they won't actually be activated. And the values YAML and the chart YAML at the top of this, you could also include other charts in this, what we call Helm chart. So the set of Kubernetes manifest files and some configuration files as well. This chart.yaml, this values YAML, and then also a little test connection pod here. Really is about getting a deployment and some other components around that deployed really easily. So take a look at that deployment YAML. I'm going to go into myapp, templates, and then deployment YAML here. Notice it starts off the same as our simple deployment that we created with kubectl create deployment. And then after a few lines, it becomes a little bit different looking. It has some parameters included here with these double curly brace notations to substitute in some values, either from the values file or some definitions from a little helper template, or even to bring in some values in some cases here from the chart definition, that chart.yaml. So bringing in some different parameters, different values in, and then creating like the container image path that we have here. And this is really easy to use. You do not need to actually edit that file. You don't even actually need to edit the values YAML if you wanted to run nginx. Because if we go in and look at that myapp values YAML, notice if we go in here, notice the repository is just nginx. The tag is nothing here, and pull policy also not present. So these are just parts of the image definition here. The replica count, also 1 right in here. So we'll get a deployment, and we can go and make adjustments as needed. So we don't have to even adjust that file. We could go look at the chart YAML here. Do we get? Oh, sorry, myapp. If I go into the right folder, that would help be in the right subdirectory here. And so this indicates that we have the API version here, and name, description here. And then we have the version of the app as 0.1.0, and then the app version is 1.16.0 here. So this is for an application Helm chart. Once again, easy command to create this. That command was simply Helm create and then the name of the thing. So if I wanted to go and create this in my cluster, I could use Helm install here, and then I would specify what I want that called in my cluster. I could say HTTPS // path to the actual Helm chart that I push into a repo in the Elastic Container Registry or other places. But I'm actually just going to refer to that subdirectory that I have here. And then I could specify also where I want to put that in my cluster. So that's all I really need right there. And I'm going to do that. I'll install myapp. This is installation failed. Deployment of myapp in the default namespace already exists, so we can't go in and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go say kubectl delete deployment of myapp, deleted. Now I'm going to do this again one more time. Helm install myapp from that myapp folder right there. And now I've deployed the app here as a few different key components. So if I say get deployment myapp now, this was created from the YAML manifest 12 seconds ago here. If I go say get a service, it is also named myapp. There I have this cluster IP service created. If I go say get a service account called myapp, I have one of those as well. So it created all of these resources with one command. They were created in my cluster with Helm install. I created the definition of the YAML manifest for these three resources and some others, by the way, with a whole lot of variable substitutions and templates with one simple command. Once again, that one, Helm create. So what if I did want to make a change here? What if I wanted to change something in this? So let's go and edit myapp, and then let's say inside there, I want to go and edit the values and the chart, both through YAML files. Let's go and edit those. I don't need to actually, well, actually, no, let's do this as well. Let's go in down into the templates and the deployment YAML there. We'll go edit that too. So here we have the deployment YAML. The replica count here, notice, is going to be plugged in into the replica's value, so I can change that if I want to. And then down a little bit further, if we go look for the image path here, we have this, and this value is going to be filled in with the values image repository, a colon, character 58 literally, and then I'm going to get either the values image tag or the default would be the chart app version here. Okay, so I can have all this calculated and plugged in. I don't actually need to change this file, so let's move on to the next file. So this is the values YAML in that Helm chart, and in here I have the replica count 1. So I could change the container image when I'm upgrading to a new version of the app, or I can change any other thing about how this app is deployed in here. So I'm going to go up here and just change the replica count to 3. So I can have 3 pods here. That's all I changed. And the Helm chart, I don't have to technically change anything, but I really want to. I want to go in and say the version of this Helm chart is now version 0.1.1. Always bump that up. That's not something you have to do with Helm, but I prefer to always, whether I change the software in the container image or any other parameters, even just the replica count of how many pods I want at the moment, I'm going to change that chart version. If I change any files, the values file, any manifest files, added, removed, anything, I'm going to change that version there. The app version might be the same. It's the same actual software, so I'm not going to change that one either. Okay, that's it. So I just change those files, and now instead of this Helm install that I did earlier right here, that was what I did earlier there, I'm going to go in, oh, sorry, didn't really want to do a Q translate of that. I'm going to go, and instead of that Helm install command, like I'd done earlier, I'm going to do a Helm upgrade. Now, you don't have to do this, but you can give a -i or !_ install if you want. And I could have done that in the original install, because I'm probably going to use a CI/CD pipeline in real life to deploy an app like this into my Kubernetes cluster, I would want to just assume the app might not exist in the namespace in the cluster that I'm putting it in. So I always do, really, other than the demonstration earlier of Helm install, I usually do the Helm upgrade -install even in the beginning. And I don't actually have to specify anything different here. I want the same app in the same Kubernetes namespace to be upgraded. And so do this upgrade here. And then this goes, checks out what's there now, what do we need, and just applies the differences, just changes. And then I get version 2, revision 2 of my app has now been deployed here. And so if I go there and I do kubectl get deployment, my app, then I have 3 replicas. So if we go and get the pods that we have, within that we could get all the details. Now I'm going to output though that deployment as YAML, just kind of look at part of that here. And I want to note that instead of app : my app as a label, we have these kinds of labels and some annotations as well in here. Notice this is generation 2 of this deployment here. Got the 3 replicas indicated right there as well, and so on. Revision history, limit of 10. So in here, notice I do have the app name, but I'm going to copy and paste this. So this actual value right there, that's what I want to check on my pods. So I'm going to go and do kubectl get here, but I'm going to go get pods, but I want only that one app because I didn't put it in a separate namespace, like I usually would per microservice or app component. I'm going to go and say I'm going to ask for labels where the label on those pods is going to be app here app.kubernetes.io/name there instead of just app, and then equal to my app. So there's those 3 pods I have right there. I could go and I could look up the service with that identifier as well, but these 3 pods are going to, again, survive there. So I can have always declarative changes instead of doing a manual kubectl scale and then that deployment that I have there, and say this is the replica count that I want right now to scale to 2 to 1 to 4 to some other number than 3. Right? Instead of doing that, what I can instead do here is I can just always go and edit that again. Now, again, I'm not going to change the replica count here. I'm going to change it only in this file here, in the values. Again, because I did make a change to the configuration of my app, I'm going to kick up once more that little version of the chart definition, configuration as code, infrastructure as code, what I want this app to do, and then we do what to make those updates. Same thing. Helm upgrade. So just CI/CD changes. If I change any part of my chart, my Helm chart here, the definition of what the app is, version of the software, different container image and tag, no problem. Change the replica count, change a config map, a secret, the service, any adjustments to how I want that deployed. All I got to do is have my pipeline just do this Helm upgrade, -install again from the same source or the new version of that it's got here. And then away we go. We just check out, okay, pods do we have running? There's our 4 pods we now have. There's the one which is maybe a little bit different age than the rest. No, they're all about, about 30 seconds old actually here in this case. And notice they also have a different, some different identifier than up above there, these new pods here. So certainly you can make adjustments and commands here. Last few commands we have here. We can go in and do, whoops, Helm install. Excuse me, my, let me go back about 15 commands. There we go. So I deleted my old deployment. I just did a Helm install right here, and then looked at my deployment there, changed part of my files in my Helm chart there, and then just did a Helm upgrade here, and then made some other changes did another Helm upgrade right there, and app changed. So really, this simplifies multiple different components, the deployment, the service, and so on. And actually, I could go in, do the same kind of thing, just edit my configuration here. And notice, actually, let me go back and do that command one more time here. Let's go, whoops, sorry. On the templates, I want to go show you that deployment there, but I also want to go show you the horizontal pod autoscaler. So let's go do that right there. So this is the deployment config. This template here, notice it has this if statement. If not, values autoscaling enabled, then assert the replicas is 3 or 4 or whatever my replica count is. Cool? So what if I were to enable autoscaling? Not only would that change this and not just slam in the replicas value here, it would be absent in my new version of the deployment config here. But I would also, in the next file here, this horizontal pod autoscaler definition here, this, the if statement at the top, values autoscaling enabled, if that's true, then I get this HPA resource, which is configured with the same kinds of labels as before. But I can use the minimum number of replicas, maximum number of replicas, and either a CPU utilization percentage or a memory target utilization here, and then have those as auto-scaling targets. So we can go in and, without changing that file even, I don't have to change the deployment YAML in the templates or the HPA horizontal pod autoscaler there either. I just come over here and into my, whoops, sorry, what did I just do? Into my values YAML, there we go. We have then, all I got to do is go to the autoscaling. So let me go down a little bit further here. Let me search for autoscaling. Oh, there we go. Autoscaling enabled is false. I'm just going to change it to true. Minimum replicas, let's say minimum viable product. I don't want a single pod of failure or single point of failure. So let's make it 2 instead of 0 or 1. Maximum replicas, I don't want to pay for 100 pods. So let's make it like something cool like 7. It's enough to service the maximum user or service load I would need here. Target CPU utilization here, we'll change it to 80, let's say 72, a little bit more reasonable. I'm going to leave this one commented out, the memory utilization. So I just changed these values right here in this definition file. Again, this is the values YAML here. Just change that. Again, what am I going to do here? You know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to kick up that version there, the 0.1.3 now. And then how do I apply this? Do you remember? Oh, it's in the history there. Yeah. I'll use the up arrow key here. That'll be fun. We just do a kubectl upgrade double hyphen install. You don't need the double hyphen install, but again, I like to have it since I can just put that one command with a proper, instead of /myapp, the place that I'll have my Helm chart stored. And then with this version of the Helm chart, I'm going to apply that. We're revision 4 of how this app is configured here. And now we also should have a horizontal, whoops, like get horizontal pod autoscaler. We should have a horizontal pod autoscaler called myapp as well. There it is. Minimum 2 pods, maximum 7 pods, replicas 1 specified at the moment. And because my app isn't really busy, like doesn't have metrics even probably yet, I can go get the deployment in my app as well. And it's 2 pods right now. All right, so it's going to be adjusting here, but it's got that minimum of 2 pods specified here at the moment. Okay? So you can deploy apps, changes to apps in Kubernetes using, again, just Helm create, the name of that. You get from there then a set of files that you can maintain, push versions of this as you change it, push a new version up into a Helm chart repository. Could be based on many different services, but the Amazon Elastic container registries, and just for container images, you could also use that to store versions of Helm charts. So a whole lot kind of higher level concept of really being able to deploy apps into your cluster at a higher level continuous integration, continuous delivery kind of basis. We can even go and take a look at the history of the app myapp there in the default namespace, and it keeps track of what was deployed in each of these cases. So again, have the Helm list able to give us the idea that, yeah, this is what you currently have deployed into your cluster in that namespace for that app, but we have the whole complete history of these stored in our cluster. This is not stored on my computer or in my DevOps pipeline, my AWS code build stage. This information is stored in the cluster. If I were to go and look up any kind of secrets that are related to Helm, whoops, sorry, let's do it grep Helm here. We have sh.helm.release.v1.myapp.v1, 2, 3, and 4 with those timestamps, notice, and those might even correlate in real time to these actual revisions. So each one of those is not YAML, but actually JSON manifest, kind of encoded in a cute little form. So that's another demonstration if you wanted me to show you that, but behind the scenes there, you could have this stored in the cluster like this as secrets, or in some other ways if you change how Helm's configured. So I hope you enjoy Helm and this day of Kubi Tuesday.